Serves. I'm Gina Adamu. I'm a councillor for Haringey Ward. I chair the licensing committee, subcommittee. May I ask my colleagues, the councillors first, to introduce themselves, and after the officers, and then the rest of you. When you're ready.
Councillor Reg Rice, Tottenham Hill Ward.
And I'm Councillor Viv Ross, Fortis Green Ward.
Thank you. And the officers?
Good morning, I'm Dale Barrett, Licensing Team Leader.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Williams, Legal Advisor.
Good morning, I'm Nashar Bashar, Licensing Officer.
Good morning, I'm Maria Ahmed, Public Health Officer.
Thank you. And okay, Philip, you want to say who you are, your role?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Philip Slother. I am the clerk to this licensing subcommittee.
Excellent, thank you. And then we have the applicants with us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sorry, Chair, we also have Marlene de Aguilar from Public Health on the
Sorry,
board.
I can't see the name anywhere. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Hello. I'm sorry, I didn't see. I couldn't see you.
It's Marlene Diagler, Health and All Policies Officer, Public Health. Thank you.
Thank you. Very welcome, all of you. And the applicants.
Good morning, I'm Reese Rose. I work for Stuart as his Senior Licensing and Operations Manager.
Okay, thank you. And okay, is there anyone else I miss out?
Yeah, I'm Stuart Glenn. I'm a director for the applicant. Yeah.
Okay, because I don't see all the names in front of me for some strange reason. Okay, thank you all very much and welcome. And just to remind you that this meeting is being recorded and will be available for public viewing. We don't have any apologies and urgent business. Again, we don't have any. Any declaration of interest? No, it doesn't seem like it. Thank you very much. The procedure for this meeting has been emailed to all participants by the clerk. For the purpose of any members of the public watching, we will first hear from the licensing officer. After that, the objectors will present their case and the committee and applicants will have the opportunity to ask questions. Then the applicant will present their application and the committee and objectors will have the opportunity to ask questions. All parties will then have the opportunity to sum up, and then the meeting will conclude to allow the committee to deliberate and reach a decision. This decision will be then provided in writing within 5 working days of this meeting. Okay, and now we go agenda number 7. It will go straight to the licensing officer. Thank you. When you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. Members will need to bear with me while I go through this because it's quite a big bundle. So the panel have before them the application submitted by DL Space Limited for the cause at 15 to 19 Garman Road, London N17. The application is seeking a variety of licensed activities, regulated entertainment in its various forms. So plays Friday to Sunday, 6 p.m. till midnight, regulated entertainment, Friday to Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 a.m., regulated entertainment in form of live music, Friday, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Saturday to Sunday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Regulated entertainment in form of recorded music, Friday, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Sunday, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. and bank holidays from 6 p.m. on the day preceding up to 11 p.m. the following day. The supply of alcohol, Friday, 6 p.m. to 5:45 a.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:45 a.m., and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10:45 a.m., and all for the supply of alcohol to be on the premises, and of course, as above for the bank holidays. So the premises is really going to be operated as a nightclub / music entertainment venue, it would seem. Representations have been received on this matter from the responsible authorities, from the licensing authority and public health, as well as building control. The recommendations to the committee is to either grant the application as requested, grant the application whilst imposing additional conditions or altering in any way the proposed ordering operating schedule, exclude any of the licensed activities that have been put forward, or to reject the whole or part of the application. And of course, as learned members, you know that you need to give reasons for whatever decision you make. In terms of background, the premises at 15 to 19 Garman is an industrial warehouse building, which has been mostly empty for the past few years. Planning permission has been granted to demolish and redevelop this site for new offices and work units. Planning have confirmed that the applicants do not have planning permission to operate the premises as a nightclub music venue at this time. I believe that's what's the phrase has been coined for these types of use as a meanwhile use. The applicants, in fact, have had a previous meanwhile use space in Ashley House in Ashley Road, which of course is now been being converted or being used as it was intended to be for new residential properties to be built on that site. Hence the reason why they're looking for a new home. The applicants have been advised about the need to regularize the planning situation. As I said, the building was previously a factory, and the licensing authority has raised concerns relating to the possible capacity figures and means of escape for this premises should it be used as a nightclub music venue. The applicants have applied for tents, Joe. I put it 2.3, but on rechecking the details this morning, it seems like those tents were actually cancelled off. I found some email trails to show that they were cancelled off, so that they didn't take place. The applicants have sought to obtain letters of support, Chair, during the consultation period. However, there were various letters, a total of 5, in fact, were received. They were from other businesses, such as Mind in Haringey, and one from the security company that the applicants themselves employ, and other ones from promoters of other events and other activities as well that take place in London. Those have not been included, Chair, because they came in during the consultation period, and they didn't actually relate to any of the licensing objectives, I'm afraid. The only one that has been included has been the security one, which I've included in order to help, well, to assist with the explanation as to how they're going to be operating and running under the premises license should it be granted, Chair. But as I say, there have been letters of support from these other 5 companies. So, Chair, in terms of the application itself, can I just highlight, please, that on page 24 within the operating schedule itself, and I'm raising this so that the applicants can actually give some clarity to this when they come to speak. It's got there the page 24 winding down time that okay, so that in fact they will be stopping alcohol sales 30 minutes prior to close, although that's not actually been offered in the actual application that you now have before you. They're asking for alcohol sales, I believe, like 15 minutes before the intended closure time. So I can give some clarity to that, Chair. And also within the pack, a note also, Chair, that the request is for late night refreshment. We're unclear as to where that late night refreshment would be housed, or where that would take place, or the form of which that late night refreshment will be offered. I'm not aware of are there kitchens, cooking facilities on site? Would it be some, people brought into the site? So some explanation around that. And because the area outlined in the plan that's submitted for this application on page 43, the red line area, I'm not sure where within that area the late night refreshment would be looking to be offered, Chair. So we'll need some clarity around that, please.
Okay.
There is also within the documentation that's been received, the plans show that the space is going to be divided into various units. And I'm sure the licensing authority officer will go into further detail on this, but it is unclear as to the capacities for these differing areas, and if those and each of those areas are going to be in play, all at one time, or, is there a cut-off capacity for a number of areas being in play at one time, or how that's going to be addressed. Okay. So in terms of the representation, so that's the licensing authority representation, which the officer will speak to. The building control officer chair did make representation. Within the representation chair, you'll see that he's also highlighted that there would be, at this time, there's insufficient toilets available on site, and that would need to be addressed. I understand that the applicants have given an undertaking that will be addressed prior to them operating, but obviously we'll need the finer details on that. There are other matters all mentioned, but I understand that building control officer has now withdrawn his representation on the understanding that the matters he's raised were going to be addressed by the applicant. The public health team have made representation, chair, and again, they have mentioned very similar things, and also in the context of policy documents and how the premises would be managed in terms of people safety and considerations around, protection of women, violence against women, what's called the WAVE scheme that's currently being rolled out across London by the police, which looks at how we can make the nighttime economy a safer place for vulnerable people to be in. And I think, and just to raise also that the police have sent in a no representation. I understand that they had meetings with the applicant and were able to agree certain conditions and measures, which I will need to follow up with them in case there is anything that of note that needs to be addressed on as a condition on the license chair. But within their letter, there was nothing that I could say was going to be coming across to yourselves for consideration, as they did a no representation, chair. So, chair, there I'll leave it. If you have any questions for me.
Thank you very much. Can I ask about the police? Normally, there will be a report with their recommendations, so the committee is able to go through the recommendations and either accept them, change them, amend them, or whatever. But we don't know what they are at this point.
Well, yeah, that is that is a cause for concern, chair. So the police letter, I can confirm to you. That will open up. The police letter just says that they have conducted their relevant checks and they don't wish to make any objections or representations, that they feel that the matters they wanted have been addressed by the satisfactorily by the applicant, chair. But I think some of the issues or some of the matters that the police have asked for are also reflected in the licensing authority representation that the officer will be able to take you through in a moment.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions from members first? Councillor Welch. Yeah.
Are there any photographs of where this place is to be located? I know Gammon Road, but I can't picture where this is going to be in Gammon Road. Have you got actual photograph of the site?
I can see if I can get one up on the screen, chair, and share the screen, but there is a map showing. Try and find it in the documents for you.
I don't want a map, I want the actual photograph.
You want to see this photograph, chair? Yeah. I will see if I can locate locate it on Street View and put it on the screen in a moment, Chair.
Okay, thanks.
You raised some areas where the applicants will address, I'm sure, later on, and that will cover a couple of questions I will have, and I'll leave it at that. But are there any, so the applicants have a chance to respond to the concerns you raised. Are there any questions from, any other questions from councillors?
Can I, Chair, Councillor Ross?
Yes, please, because I
just-
can't see you in any way or form, so please speak up.
Okay. I just wanted to ask about the planning aspect because, of course, I'm on planning committee and whether a planning application has gone in or will be going in.
So that you will need to direct to the applicants when it's their time to speak, Chair. I'm not aware of any being submitted at this moment in time, but they'll be able to speak to that.
Yeah.
And can I ask legal, as I'm on the planning committee, is there? I mean, obviously, I can't discuss, or I can't make any sort of comment about the decision about planning matters.
Not planning.
What in relation to this application?
Yeah, because I mean, if a planning application does go in, obviously, I can't discuss planning matters because I'm on the committee. If you see what I mean.
It's not.
Councillor Ross, let me address that after this meeting, after this hearing.
Okay.
That's not a matter for this hearing.
No,
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. No more questions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the licensing authority first? Yeah.
None from me.
Okay, and then the public health, Maria, any questions? Do you have any questions, Maria?
No questions at this moment, but later on, I will.
Of course, yeah. Thank you. Can I ask the applicants? Do you have any questions for the officer? No. Okay, in that case, if there is no more questions, I come straight to the licensing authority presentation, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to point out that the applicants have agreed to some of our representation, which they have submitted and has been circulated to everybody. I will focus on the conditions that haven't been agreed, one of which is the hours. We stand by the hours in our report, and the other conditions that haven't been accepted are the 6 security staff at the premises. We proposed that in our original representation, but we would like to propose the following condition instead. Door supervisors shall be used to vet customers and maintain public order. The vetting process must include implementation of the premises proof of age policy. There shall be a minimum of 6 door supervisors on duty from opening hours on each trading day and who shall remain on duty until the premises closes and is empty of patrons. The premises license holder shall ensure the following details for each door supervisor are contemporaneously entered into a bound register kept at the premises. Full name, SIA certificate number and or badge number or registration number of any accreditation scheme approved by the SIA, the time the officer began their duty and the time they completed their duty. This register is to be kept at the premises at all times and shall be so maintained as to enable an authorised officer of the licensing authority or a constable to establish the particulars of all door stewards engaged at the premises during the period of not less than 28 days prior to the request and shall be open to inspection by authorised officers of the licensing authority or the police upon request. The SIA officers' roles, no patrons shall be admitted or readmitted to the premises after 9 p.m. unless they have passed through a metal detecting search arch and if the search arch is activated or at the discretion of the staff, then physically searched, which will include a pat-down search and a full bag search. I'm happy for this condition to be altered if the committee are minded to put in place the requirement of just one ding. the applicants have used wanding at their previous location, we would always ensure that their security do a thorough pat down to prevent drugs being brought into the venue. They are intending the use of the premises for all-night raves events. There is a concern around drug use at these events. Also, they do divide up the premises into various units in order to maximize on numbers for these events. The premises is not purpose-built, and there are concerns from public safety perspective in this regard, hence the reason for this condition. No licensable activities shall take place at the premises until the premises has been assessed as satisfactory by the Officer for Health and Safety and Fire Safety, at which time this condition shall be removed from the license by the licensing authority. The number of persons accommodated at the premises, excluding staff, shall not exceed, this is subject to the London Fire Service inspection and subject to sanitary accommodation being improved to the satisfaction of the Council's Environmental Health Officer. We would like to restrict the hours to my representation letter initially, which I have. So Friday, 6 p.m. till 2:30 a.m., Saturday 8 a.m. till 2:30 a.m. and Sunday 8 a.m. till midnight. Bank holidays from 6 p.m. on the days preceding to 11 p.m. on the following day. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Chair, can I just ask for clarity? The conditions that were read out,
yes,
do they appear in writing somewhere?
Sorry, Delia, were they sent out?
I can confirm they were sent out to the applicant's chair. I will, I'll make them available for the panel.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will take questions from members first. Are there any questions? Councillor Rice.
I want some clarity as to where this building is and what was its previous use. Because I'm as I say, I know Garman Road and I can't figure out where this building is and what previously took place in it.
Hi, Chair. I can bring it. I'll put a picture up if that's helpful on Google Maps.
Yes, please. Yeah, as I understand, it was a factory. It was industrial area, but I don't know where it is. Yes, please put the picture up.
Bear with me. Can you see that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Is everyone happy that the Councillor Rice, you know what that is?
Yeah. The actual building is those with the
this thing here with the in between the vans.
Yeah, it's on the left, I think, of the picture.
Sorry?
So
I think it's on the left of the picture, I think.
So I think if I scroll that way, it's this building here.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that up for demolition?
Yes.
It is, Councillor, but as I was saying, I think the applicants are going to want to use it in the meantime until it is demolished and rebuilt again for use as and rebuilt as commercial properties. But it is earmarked for demolition, yes.
How far is it away from the nearest housing?
Good question. I was going to answer the same, yeah. Yes, Rose, is it Mr. Rose? Rose Reese? You got your hand?
I can
No,
answer
I don't have any questions.
from the nearest housing, if you want that. I can answer how far it is from the nearest housing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in the I have to say, when we saw the picture, we realized it looked like housing, terrace houses across the road.
Not on that road. I think it's 250 meters across the railway line on Park Lane Road at the nearest actual residential.
Ah, okay.
And that's directly to the west.
So, so the buildings opposite where the application is made, what are they? Those are they housing those? Those on the right-hand side.
That's industrial.
Oh,
an
I see. Okay.
I think it's an enormous print warehouse. It's
Oh,
always
right.
rumbles 24 hours a day.
Ah, okay. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Has this previous type of entertainment, nightclubbing and all that sort of thing, has that taken place before in these premises?
Chair,
Oh,
yes,
Chair.
the applicants have used Ashley House previously on Ashley Road in a similar fashion.
Ashley House is a different site.
Sorry, Ashley House is a.
Different site.
It is. You ask if they've done something like this previously, and the answer is yes, they have.
Is this much nearer to the new residential buildings along that road? But this is further away from the residential.
Yeah, your question was, have they done this previously? So the answer is yes, they have. So they used to do it at the Ashley House site, but are no longer able to do it there because obviously that site is now being redeveloped.
Yeah, okay.
So they're now looking at Garman Road site, which again is going to be redeveloped, but they're wanting to use it in the meantime until the redevelopment starts. Although they've not actually applied for an indefinite license, Chair. So it's not a, you know, and I suppose that's as a matter of safety, really, so that in case the redevelopment timeline slips, that the license still remains effective.
Do you know whether when the entertainment and socializing in these buildings take place, would the industrial part of the site on the other side of the road, would that be in operation?
Yes, in effect. I mean, the other whichever units are still in operation will still be operating as they would do. Yeah, I suppose if you ask.
I mean, if it is open during the night time, well, obviously it'd be open during the night, early hours in the morning, would the other industrial units be in operation then? Do you know that? You may not.
Okay,
know.
no, I don't know that for definite, Chair, because obviously I don't know what the other units are and their times of operation and how they operate, I'm afraid.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, thank you very much. Are there any more questions? Councillor Rosa, I'm not sure, I can't see it. So do you have any question?
Not at this time, Chair, thank you.
Okay. Can I ask if there are any questions on this report from anybody else? Please indicate. Yeah. I don't think so. If there is no more questions, I think we move to public health. Okay, Maria, it's you.
Just to make you aware, we'll be here till.
Can't hear you. But,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go on.
Just to make you aware, we'll be here till 11 at this hearing.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm just going to give a summary of our rep. Public health, we have concerns under the licensing objectives, prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, public nuisance, and protecting children from harm. The applicant stated in their licensing application, planning had approved their application for a build. However, this was for the demolition of the existing industrial buildings and redevelopment to provide a new building for manufacturing, warehouse or distribution with ancillary offices on ground, first, second floor frontage, together with a 10 self-contained design studio offices on the third floor. The applicant was not transparent of it intended use not being a nightclub venue in their application, and the floor plan submitted does not indicate a club type entertainment establishment, and we cannot see where the licensed areas will be and the maximum numbers accommodated at each of the units in the premises. I think on page 45 they gave a drawing plan of space. And we don't know over how many floors will the nightclub venue be. Where are the toilets, the hand washing facilities? Is the outdoor space going to be used for nightclub as well? And we had a few questions for the applicant. about how long will the premises be used for meanwhile use. And also we just want to, so we cannot, also therefore we are not certain, we are uncertain of its suitability of the site, which has potential to cause nuisance, music, noise disturbances to surrounding properties, litter, crowd gathering. License should not be granted until we are confident where the license areas will be and the property is safe to be used as a nightclub. And also in that area in the LSOA, there is a high rate of alcohol-specific hospital admissions, with 21 alcohol-specific hospital admissions in that area near the premises, and this has increased from the previous year, where we saw there was 8 alcohol-related ambulance call-outs. And this ward does have high numbers of domestic abuse. And yeah, so therefore we kind of reject this application as we're not clear from the submitted plans the premises suitability to be used as a nightclub. The applicant must seek the correct planning permission for the intended use of club entertainment establishment to give us the confidence that that the premises can be used, can be licensed. And we wanted more information in regards of having a general risk assessment submitted to identify the potential hazards to residents, vulnerable people, customers and staff, which includes noise, violence, poor ventilation, overcrowding, drugs, and what will be in place to manage those hazards. So the applicant, they've accepted all of our conditions, and they did state that they will submit a risk assessment before the premises is open to the public. And
it's closed.
And also the applicant also put forward a condition about the event scheduled on match days should be programmed to ensure that the opening and closing time is not within 2 hours of the times when there is a match on Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And another condition we would like to put forward is the applicant must seek the correct granted planning permission before the site is to be used for licensed activity and club entertainment. And I'm just going to go through a few of the questions we have for the applicant. One of them is, I'm just going to repeat it again, how long will the premises be used for meanwhile use? The other one is, where will the smoking shelter be? We just need clarity around that. On your application, you've stated that there will be a wedding event held. We just wanted to know which days of the week will the wedding event take place. Will this be an alcohol-free wedding event? And were there any complaints or issues or concerns when the calls were at Ashley Road? Where are the toilets, the hand washing facilities? And will the outdoor space be used for the events and nightclub activity? We're just going to share on the screen the plans that the applicant has submitted, and we just needed more clarity around it. So there's units. Do you want to talk through it, Marley? Marley's going to talk through some of the questions we have about the touring plan.
So we wanted the applicant to talk to us about Unit 6, as there's one, it just appears that there's one access door in, and it's quite slim and quite narrow. So we just wanted to look at what activities are going to happen in Unit 6. And in terms of health and safety, is one access route in and out. Are there any fire doors or anything? I can't see it on the plans. And also, if you look at Unit 8, Unit 8 is the only access into a narrow corridor that takes you into Unit 6. So again, there seems to be some health and safety issues here. And there just seems to be a lack of what I would call entrances. And if you have people who've got accessible needs as well, how are they being catered for with these spaces? And again, we want clarity on through looking at this, where toilets are going to be, accessibility, health and safety. It just looks like from the maps that the entrances and doors into each of the spaces is not enough. They seem to be singular doors going in, and if you're going to have hundreds of people in each of those spaces, I just feel that if there was an issue, fire, anything, how would you navigate that? It just doesn't look safe enough.
Thank you, Chair, for that.
Yeah.
From us.
Thank you very much. And I'm hoping the applicant will respond to all the issues raised by your presentation as well. Thank you very much. Can I ask you, before I ask my colleagues if they have any questions, you have a number of recommendations in your report. Do you know whether they've been accepted or not? I mean, when I say accepted, I mean by the applicant.
Sorry, the conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, conditions, recommendations, whatever. Yeah. You have a number in your report. Have they been discussed with the applicant? Have they agreed to any of those?
Yeah, they've agreed to all of the
Some.
conditions that in our rep. But there's also a recommendation that we've put forward, which is not written in this rep, but through email.
See. Okay. Okay, we don't have that one in the paperwork here, but I know, I understand from your presentation. Okay, thank you very much. Can you take this plan away, please?
Sorry, Chair, can we just ask that that email be provided to the committee, so that we can see the terms that are being asked for?
Yeah, I think it would be helpful. If we have that when we are discussing, we have all the information in front of us. Is that okay? Will you be able to do that? Thank you. Councillor Rice. Sure.
Chair, the last officer appears to me to be saying.
Oh God, hang on a minute, the sound is bad. Can you do anything about it, Philip? Try again, Reg.
Yeah, the last officer appears to me to be saying that the correct planning permission needs to be in place before this premises can operate as a nightclub venue. No, I'm not sure about that, because the planning is completely separate from the licensing arrangements, and they can get planning separate and distinct from what they're asking for. I mean, it's what's being said. Well, you've got to have the right planning permission to open this place as a nightclub. I'm not sure that's correct.
This is a discussion we will have at later between us, and it's not a question the public health can answer, to be honest with you. The licensing officer wants to come in.
But the legal officer could answer that.
Yes, Chair, I can answer that question, Chair.
Okay.
Yes, so Councillor Rice, you are correct. The planning process and the licensing process are two distinct processes. The licensing can be determined independent of the planning permission, but obviously the venue would not be able to operate as a nightclub until such time as they had obtained the necessary planning permission. But the license can be determined without that planning permission being in place.
Thank you. I thought that's right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from members?
Not from me, Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions to the public health from anybody else? Please indicate. I can't see anybody. if that's the case, I think we move to the applicants, and you heard all the concerns raised by our own licensing officer and then public health. Perhaps you're able to respond to them. Thank you.
Yeah, hi there. So this is my summing up section.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah. You do your presentation.
No, it's not your summing up.
No,
This
no,
is where
no.
you present the case.
Is that what you said? I misheard.
That's what I was trying to figure out where I'm at in the process. Sorry, it's been a while.
I apologize. I didn't hear the question. You will give your presentation, and within your presentation, perhaps trying to incorporate the other areas that is being raised. Thank you.
Right. Just for clarity, as Dahlia said, we have done this sort of a project before and taken a used industrial space on meanwhile basis to use as an event space. We generally run late night music-led events, which are basically dance music led. However, we do work with local charities. We do daytime wedding events. We do all sorts across the board. We've looked very carefully at the traffic and the businesses in the area, and they pretty much operate Monday to Friday and are closed by 5 p.m, which has essentially made our application times from 6 p.m. on Friday through to Sunday evening, because it's pretty dead around the industrial estate at the weekend over there at the moment. So we're trying to tie that into the way that the industrial estate operates. We're aware that we've probably only got 1 year maybe on the meanwhile use, because the landlord is talking about demolishing towards the end of this year, next year.
It's early 2024, so
early
January
2024. Okay, it's basically that it's just keeps slipping a little bit, but what we've also discussed is having done this process once, we've met with building control and the police, and there are conditions that Pierre requested that we have added. I don't know if that's actually been in there, but he withdrew the representation on the basis that those conditions were put in. So I don't know if you can be given that. That's what he told me, that we wanted those conditions added in, and that was the same that Mark Derek from the police had said. We had a big long list of additional conditions from Derek that we would add to our operating schedule. So I don't know if there's any way that you could be provided with the final communication from both of those email trails, but it would probably help you to see that we are volunteering to have all of those additional conditions added in from those two experienced sections of the council. With regards to the actual building and the planning status and everything that we've been discussing, the landlord wants us to get a license approved before he let us begin the planning application process. We are hoping to run them side by side so that we can get the planning approved and the building opened, and then hopefully we've got more projects on the horizon, which will mean that we move up and out into another venue. But this is to try and make sure that we keep our business alive in the interim. I could go on to address the other sections from public health and licensing if you want. Is that what I do now, or?
Yes.
Yes, it's up to you, but yes, please.
Yeah, with regards to the timings, the later timings allow for a more gradual emptying of the space. So we've got experience of running the venue at Ashley Road until 6 a.m. for several years with a 6 a.m. license. I think it was from 2019, and with temporary event notices before that. And we've had a limited number of problems. There's 1 or 2 major incidents, but there were over 200,000 people through the space in the time that we did it. We're a fairly experienced operator in terms of making sure that everything works properly, as is shown by the trust the police have put in us about not making a representation after the discussions that we made. The licensing authority rep said that we hadn't agreed the safety condition that they mentioned and the capacity condition. We were happy with that. The only thing on the licensing authority rep that we were unsure about was the 6 security would prevent us from running smaller events in smaller sections of the space. We would like that to be 6, that change into 3 security plus 1 to 100 thereafter as more of the spaces opened up. That's kind of reflected in the discussions that we had with the police. The temporary event notices that we had in there were actually for New Year's Eve 2019, and we have used this space before for events. We did remedial works on the exits, made them all work properly, made them wider, added additional facilities. This is everything that we intend to do with this space if the license is granted. We have said in our discussions with the police and building control that we would put in a minor variation that would show the new site plan that we would be working to once the planning is granted and we know where we're at. And all of that will be before we opened. We will be in liaison with the fire brigade and building control and the police, licensing authority, public health, all the way up until opening the doors. And we really want to work with you guys because we want to try and keep our business alive. I think, yeah, but the provisions in the building as part of the building control discussions would all be up to the standards of the Yellow Book, which I believe is the technical standards for places of entertainment, and that was what was required of us to have the representation withdrawn from building control. That should be fairly easy to see if you can get that email. The smoking will be to the rear of the premises. There'll be no events outdoors, and there will be no licensed activities Monday to Friday. It would be film shoots and things like that. So I'm just checking to see if I've ticked everything off there that was brought up there. Alcohol sales 30 minutes prior to close. There must have been a typo. We will happily change that to 30 minutes prior to close if that makes it easier. Stuart has sent me a message saying he's happy to not have late night refreshment. It was put in there in case we could get a service provider. We just haven't actually figured out where that would be yet because we still don't have the planning approved, basically. The times, however, I mean, I think I should let Stuart talk about the times. If you want to do that, that's your business.
So we've been operating for about 3.5 years in Ashley Road. Initially, we had a 5 AM license, and we used multiple 10s to extend that to 6 AM. About 2 years ago, we received a 6 AM license, and we've never had any issues with the timing of the events. We find that a lot of people arrive 11:30 PM, midnight. It sort of peaks around 1, 2, and then after that, there's sort of a slow dispersal of people leaving. If we were to finish at 2:30 AM, we can show you evidence from our bar sales. That's when people are at the peak. If everyone goes out at the same time, then it's a far worse situation for us, to be honest, in terms of what effect that might have on any surrounding areas. So it's much more beneficial for us to actually go on later, and obviously it means we can actually do what we do, which is we're essentially providing late night activity. As I say, a lot of people arrive at 11:30, 12 o'clock, and if we're finishing at 2:30, there's literally a 2-hour window for people to partake in listening to the music and listening to DJs. It's not really enough time to do what we do. And I feel like we've got a track record. We're incredibly well known. We've put Tottenham on the map in a certain way in terms of bringing culture to the area. We've done multiple events where we've worked with local charities and partners. Our last ever show, we raised £9,000. That was 4,500 for Total Reach, I think. They're a homeless-based Haringey charity. They've got a Haringey branch, and half of that also went to Mind in Haringey, which is a local mental health charity. Across our time, we've raised over £150,000 for various charities. And we provide culture, we provide jobs, we add a lot, I think. And if we're simply trading till 2 AM on a Friday and Saturday, and obviously Sundays are a lot harder. They're you might get one decent Sunday a month. It's a very small window for us to do what we need to do. it just wouldn't work, in all honesty, if we have to finish at 2:30 a.m. So
Is that everything, Stuart? I think as it,
yeah, just to reiterate as well, we have a good relationship with the local police, which is why they're happy with our operations. Gary, who's also sitting in the meetings, our head of security, he has very good procedures to deal with any problems. We have medics on site, we have a medical room, and obviously search, and we go above and beyond to protect our license. We've always used ID scan, so we know who's coming in to the building, and we just feel like we've got a pretty good proven track record for operating a very similar venue, which is now which is in less. Ashley Road was probably more residential or closer to residents than this proposed site is, and that ran, fairly smoothly throughout the time, and I believe we were quite a success, and we've obviously garnered the respect of the police for the way we've been able to do this, for them not to object to the times on this. So yeah, I hope you can take that into consideration. Thanks.
Thank you. Have you finished your presentation?
I'm finished, I think, unless there's any. Do I take questions now, Dahlia, or is that later?
Yes, I will. Yeah, I'm about to ask councillors if they do. You have any questions? I think one question that if one question I think that if the public health was here, Maria would say you didn't answer was the issue around when the Whitehead Lane, when football is on. I think I don't know whether we will respond to that or not. Yeah.
We've responded to that in email with public health, which is that we're a set of conditions that Dahlia proposed about us having no street drinking, no plastic glasses either side of the event and during the match day events. That was specific to football, and we said yes, no problem. And also public health said something along the lines of they wanted us to not cause extra congestion on the transport network. So we said 2 hours either side. Is that sufficient? If you guys want to discuss that and change that however you feel, we're happy to accept a condition that limits our opening and closing times to not happen within a certain time of the football on match days at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Okay, thank you. Stuart, you got your hand up. Do you want to add anything?
No.
Okay.
No, sorry.
Okay. Our licensing officer wants to come in.
Sorry, Chair, there were a few questions posed actually by myself at the beginning when I did the report, and also by the officers as well. And now I've lost my note that I wrote them down on. I know Public Health asked if there were any issues from the cause. Was that right? Is Maria still here? I just saw her.
No. Oh.
One of her questions.
Yeah, that's right. Were there any kind of complaints, issues, concerns when the calls were at Ashley Road, and what were the concerns and issues, and how will you actually deal with them if this license is to be granted at this premises?
Okay, so if the applicants want to have a response on that, and then I can. Sorry, I'm trying to find.
Okay.
Records are here as well.
Okay.
I mean, the kind of issues that we've dealt with over the past are people who have taken too much drugs, and we would then take them with the medic to a welfare room or in a treatment room, assess them, call an ambulance where required, and let them know. Get them away to the hospital as quickly as possible. If they just need looking after, we look after them in a quieter welfare room, give them water, make sure that they're all right. We've had incidences of just after we reopened, there was a phase where people started to use needles to spike people. We discussed that immediately with the police, implemented new measures, made people aware of it, wanted every single person that came in to address it. Like it's a dynamic risk assessment that we use for sort of event and our ongoing process. But we basically make sure that we're in good communication with the police about these things, good communication with the licensing authority wherever it's required, and we report it back to them, assess and change our systems and procedures, and move forwards with new best practice if anything's lacking.
Can I just say something as well regarding some of the things that Reece has mentioned, for example, the spiking, that was a major national problem. It was all over the news. It wasn't particularly something that happened at our venue above others, but we just had to deal with it and, you know, respond to the issue. It was all over the press. It wasn't to do with our space specifically. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Before I call, go back to the licensing officer, I see another hand up. Is it Gary? Do you want to say?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I just want to sort of emphasise the points on our side of what we do as a security, welfare and medics. We supply the calls, and as Reece says, we're constantly updating our programs and we're analysing nationally, not only locally but nationally. And when the spiking situation did come into play, we then trained all the staff up, including the staff, not only security staff, but we then looked at the staff inside the cause itself, like the bottle people, the bar staff, etc., and we trained them all up through Ask Angela and Wave. So we're constantly renewing our systems and we're looking at those points. Also, to go back to the points, I think it was licensing about start writing evidence down. All our guys wear body-worn cameras. We do have logs where all security sign in with their badge numbers, expiry dates, and these are always available to the police and licensing available. And these are always there on site to be reviewed at any time. So that's on that side for you.
Okay, thank you. I have seen you personalize, but I'll call you in a minute. Can I go back to the licensing officer?
Thank you, Chair. So, yeah, Chair, just to reiterate, I can confirm, as Mr. Rose and Mr. Stewart has said. So, yes, there have been some issues from the previous premises at Ashley Road. I believe it was last year where one of the was it last year, 2021, there was a drug overdose at the venue. Again, that was investigated, of course, by the police. The premises were not reviewed following that particular incident, Chair, and I believe the police worked with the venue to put in place, as did the licensing authority, worked with the venue to put in place additional measures and mitigation at the venue in terms of, you know, stepping up searches, security and that sort of thing, to try and combat or avoid such incidents. There have been noise complaints, Chair, but again, some of that has been, initially was in the late evening. Some additional works were done by the applicant, and certainly the daytime events, if they're finishing, you know, 10, 11 o'clock, then they've not been such an issue. I would like some clarity as to what was meant by wedding events, because obviously, are we talking about the premises being hired out for, somebody can hire the premises to come and hold their wedding reception there, because it's not going to be a you know, a prescribed wedding centre, as I believe. It's not going to be a premises that's going to be registered for weddings. So if it's just someone to have their wedding party there, then that is just a hire matter. And should the license be granted, they'll be able to then use the space for that in any event. I've noted that late night refreshment was asked to be removed, as we were concerned, therefore, where, you know, if there was going to be any vehicles turning up for these large events, for the, you know, your late night events and so forth. And it's a long time, basically, that the time's being offered is a long time for people to be there without any food as well. Alcohol is going to be served for long periods of times there if there's going to be no food available as well. So I think that needs to be addressed. And again, from the licensing authority perspective, has already been mentioned, the capacity and means of escape remains an ongoing concern for us in looking at this matter.
Thank you. Would you like to respond to that?
Regarding regarding the issues of weddings and stuff, we're a multi-purpose space. We're available for people to use it for from all walks of life, for all purposes, as long as they're a good crowd and it will be a good, safe event. That meets obviously all the licensing objectives. So we obviously put that in there if somebody wants to celebrate after a wedding and come down with their guests, and we would like to be available for that. It may never happen, it may happen, but we just want to have the flexibility to do all the various things that we'd like to do in the space to welcome everyone. I just want to reiterate over some of the points as well that are raised, the issues, all the issues that we've dealt with and responded to them satisfactorily to the police, and worked with everyone to ensure that all our procedures are as good as they possibly can be, and we will continue to work with the authorities to ensure that we deal with any problems as and when they occur.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I got to go. Oh, do I see a hand up, Shah, or am I wrong?
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair. Just for clarity purposes,
Yeah,
can
sorry,
can the applicants please confirm if any outside space is going to be used as part of business activities?
So we're not going to use outside for any of the licensable events. The rear of the premises, which is on the plan that you're looking at to the right hand side, there will be a smoking area which will be monitored by a SI registered member of staff at all times. That's in the additional operating schedule points that we discussed with the police. And then the other thing was with the late night refreshment, because there isn't anywhere to show where we would put a canteen. If we do put something in there to provide food, we would obviously only operate it until 11 p.m. and probably just license that single space as a late night refreshment area in the interim. So we haven't fully finished the planning of the floor because the landlord is holding us back from starting that process, basically. But we appreciate that over a very long event, then there is a need for food service and food provision. We've previously done burgers and pizzas and things like that at the Ashley Road space, and we'll be looking to incorporate something somewhere that would facilitate people being able to eat without having to leave. There's not an awful lot around the space at the moment where they can go and eat. There's a cafe that shuts in the middle of the day on Saturday, I think, at the moment. But basically, we're aware of that, but because there isn't anywhere on the plan and it's causing you concern, we're also happy to have it removed, and we'll reapply for that one space to be late night refreshment later.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Rice.
Thank you. I was wondering in the course of the discussion about how seriously it's been taken to the Spurs events, because Spurs is not just now they're a football club which plays a fortnight, where they used to be years ago. There's something going on almost every week. This year there've been 2 American football matches. There've been boxing, heavyweight boxing action, ladies football, and a whole range of things go on there on a weekly basis. And there's some, I think the figure is 65,000 around that in terms of people attend these matches. Not every match, obviously, they're going to have the capacity in those numbers, but there'll be substantial numbers. And I just wonder how much consideration we given to these matters in terms of health and safety of the community. Because even if you get 30,000 people coming from Spurs and wandering around in that club, God knows what's going to happen. No more, thanks.
Just for clarity, we're we're pretty much a destination venue when we operate. So we run like a live band that people would pay for tickets to come and see, or a promotion-led music event where people want to come and see a performer, which we wouldn't be advertising to the sports crowd as part of our day-to-day operations, and we're only trading on the weekends, and we're more than happy to accept the conditions about how we mitigate against causing problems that were suggested by the licensing authority and discussed with public health.
Okay, I have 5 hands up. I'm not quite sure whether people want to speak, but if you don't want to speak, please take your hand down. And okay, so I have Stuart, Maria, Delia, and Sean. So, okay, shall I start with? Okay, I'll start with Maria.
You mentioned about smoking rear to the premises, and just wanted to know where exactly this will be, because I'm aware that there are businesses in the surrounding area, and yeah, just wanted more clarity around that. Where exactly? Is there going to be a shelter? What area is going to be designated for smoking? Yeah, that's my question.
Right, sorry about that. I was trying to get my mute button to unmute. So essentially, without the site plan, it's very hard for me to explain. But in the rear right-hand corner, it's around a service road all the way at the back of the building. It's off street. There's a section of the area of the site that we will be hiring, which is actually our kind of backyard. It has a gated section that would be slid across with a member of security stood at the gate to operate in an event of emergency, and it's essentially, it would be within our business curtilage.
It's the backyard area of the premises that's only going to be used for smoking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. Do you have a question?
Yes. Sorry, can I just ask what the applicants intend to do to avoid increased traffic and parking in the area that will impact any residents and other businesses?
I mean, in general, most of the events that we run are not the kind of events where people would drive to them. There were events that we tried a couple of in Ashley Road in the past that have previously brought traffic in. We've got enough experience now to not promote those events with those people. So in general, it would be our experience as operators and promotions team to not work with groups of people who come and drive in cars for the events. We'll also make sure that it's clearly stated that there is no parking, and that people should make their way by public transport. I think we've made a suggestion about that somewhere in one of our conversations with one of the authorities. It might be in the blue text in the public health response. If you wanted to add a condition to do with our advertising preferred public transport use, we'd be happy to do that.
I was just asking because when you said you were going to have booked events such as weddings, they usually come with guests driving to the venue. So that's where the question mainly came from.
Okay. I mean, I've never gone to a wedding in a car ever.
Thank you. Okay, Delia, you want to come in?
Yeah, Chair. I'm just mindful that obviously the smoking area that's been spoken about, we don't know exactly where that's going to be. And I'm supposed for us, had we have known that was going to be the case, that we would have wanted to address that with conditions, i.e. that there would be no music out there, that there would, customers would go out just to smoke, no drinks going outside with them. So it doesn't then start becoming a point where they're congregating to finish off their drinks while they're outside socializing as well. But yeah, so I suppose that's something that will need to be clarified, and a plan and so forth submitted for that. And can I also just point out for the applicants, please, on page 23 in the offered operating schedule, I've noticed that it's been put forward about no entertainment, performance, service or exhibition involving nudity or sexual stimulation that would come within the definition of a sex establishment shall be provided. Now, it's we know, obviously, because if the applicants have operated at Ashley House, they have had events there that have been, I believe that you've had fetish nights there. Is that correct? You've had a promoter that comes and do fetish nights?
Yes. Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as it stands, the borough has a nil policy when it comes to a sex establishment, sexual entertainment venue. However, under the Licensing Act 2003, there is the ability for a premises to do such an event once a calendar month, I believe. So if that's the case and you are looking to do those kinds of activities, should you be granted the license at this venue, then again, I think a written policy around how that's going to be managed should be in place also. Yeah, just for the panel to note, please.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm writing it down.
I'm sorry, Chair, just one last thing, just to say, they obviously, I know we've spoken about Spurs and the match days, but it's not just match days. But obviously, as Councillor Rice has rightly pointed out, Spurs is a multi-purpose venue with the very likelihood of having lots of different and non-football day events taking place there. So for us, it's going to be crucial that, you know, if you're multi-purpose venue also with the unknown capacity is also having events on the same day, that then does impact on our considerations for the transport management that then comes into play in getting away the 60,000 that needs to, you know, be taken out of the area from a Spurs event. And it's not just your event, that's also been granted, you know, that's also come to the council for a license for a large space. There is another space nearby that would also be using Tottenham Hale as its main transport hub. So again, that needs to be factored into, you know, your timing of events and types of events taking place too.
Okay. Can I just say something on that? There's a major venue which is just over Meridian Water, Drumsteads.
Yeah.
That has now closed.
I know.
That's quite close as well to where we're situated, and some of the transport would have been similar. So that was, I believe, was it 5,000 or 10,000 capacity? I think it was 10,000 capacity. So there's been a lot of a venue just up the road, and I don't know what the issues were when that was operating and us, but you know, there was 3 months ago there was events there for 10,000 people, which are now not an issue. So I don't know how that sort of falls into the center.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of that particular premises, but like I said, because it's Tottenham Hale, that potentially yourselves, the other venue in Tottenham Hale, will all be sending, as will Spurs be sending people to. We do need to have everybody on the radar.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chair, I have a question, if I may, Councillor Ross.
Yes, please do.
Okay, so on page 1 of the agenda, the hours, as I read it, it's running from 6 p.m. until on Friday until 11 p.m. on Sunday, with just 2 hour, if you like, cleaning and restocking in the early hours of the morning, 6 till 8 a.m. And just to confirm that you won't be asking for late night refreshment from 11 till 5. And also to confirm, I mean, I understand the argument that this will be a late night venue, and to close at 2 a.m. Wouldn't work for you. But I just wanted to confirm supply of alcohol to 5:30 each morning and 10:30 on the Sunday night, rather than what's written on page 1, which is 5:45 and 10:45. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, are they? Let's see, hand ups. Oh no, it's gone. Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say we're happy to accept those what's just been said. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you. It's been very helpful. Thank you very much. Are there any more questions? If there is, then I will ask people to sum up, and I'll start with our licensing officer.
Chair, I don't think I have anything further to sum up on. Thank you.
Okay, our licensing authority.
Thank you, Chair. We still believe that this venue at the moment is not suitable or fit for purpose for the activities applied for. We still need clarity on capacity and fire exits, and through their own documents, they have stated that the building is a work in progress, and we have ongoing concerns that the London Fire Service have not been able to inspect the building as yet, fully inspect the building as yet. So therefore, our representation stands.
Okay, thank you. And I don't know if public health is still with us or not.
Yeah, Chair, just to summarise that, we object to this application. It's unclear from the plans, the premises suitability to be used as a nightclub, and we have concerns for the public health and safety, the way the building has been designed, and because of the vagueness and non-transparency, we are not confident that the applicant acknowledges the potential issues which may arise from the premises being located near local businesses and other properties. And yeah, that in summary.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I ask the applicants to sum up, please?
So basically, just to go over everything that we said, thank you all for your time. Could we make sure that the emails between building control and ourselves are made available to the committee for consideration? Because we were under the impression that that would be the case, and that the conditions that building control had suggested for us as part of our operating schedule would be actually added as conditions. Those conditions cover the fire safety, the structure of the building, the fabric of the building, the provision of the toilets, the combustible nature of the installed materials, the ventilation, everything that everybody's concerned about is covered in that set of conditions, which is asking us to make sure that we are compliant with the British standards levels, which are the ones from the technical places of entertainment. So basically, if you would consider that as additional conditions, which should tie up the loose ends in terms of the suitability of the building to be used. We are aware that there's a lot of work that needs doing on it. The only thing is that we can't start the planning process until we know whether or not we've got a license. So we haven't actually started paying for all of the architects and the documents and everything to be produced. This set of conditioning from building control definitely puts a large sort of ring around that, and should hopefully help you understand the discussions that we've already had. And then many of the other points, I think we're mostly happy with everything that was said by public health and the licensing authority. It was just the opportunity to reduce the 6 security to 3, with 1 per 100 thereafter. And just to go away and discuss the times. There are a lot of conditions that were voluntary that were discussed with the police as well, that were additional to make sure that the police were happy with our proposed future use of the space. So I don't know if you've got access to that set of emails, but between building control and the police, we'll be happy to have all of those things that were discussed added as conditions.
Chair, can I ask, is that from page 111 onwards, those conditions from building control?
That's correct. That's correct. They are in the report. I was waiting for Mr.
Yeah.
Rose to finish. They are indeed in the report, and it's those matters that the building control has said that he's satisfied with their response, as I said at the start of the meeting, and then withdrew the rep on that basis. That with
Okay,
the
thank you.
undertaking that the applicants know they need to satisfy those requirements prior to opening the doors to the public.
Okay.
And for further clarity, the licensing officer has also covered the proposed conditions around around ensuring that the required works as well as any fire safety requirements are also taken into are also conditioned. So on page 96, yeah, you've got the no license for activity shall take place at the premises until the premises has been assessed as satisfactory by the Officer for Health and Safety and Fire Safety, at which time the condition shall be removed from the license by the licensing authority. And also the number of persons accommodated at the premises, excluding staff, shall not exceed, and that number is to be agreed upon once the LFB have carried out their work, their inspection, subject to agreed sanctuary accommodation being approved and to the satisfaction of the council's environmental health officer.
We were happy with both of those. I don't know where that's missed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If we are at this, I think you have finished, Mr. Rose. Thank you. And can I thank you all for attending this meeting today? And I will ask you to leave us so the committee will be able to deliberate on the decision, which will be provided with 5 working days from today. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, panel.
Thank you. Philip, let me know when we are ready for our discussion.
Okay, both of me, I'll just stop the record.
Chair, can we have a couple of minutes conference break?
Of course. Let's